welcome back with another banger. It's the React Files. Let's get straight to it.
Majestic is understanding how to manipulate the fabric of reality using magic. Yeah, like the wireless sensor networks that you've adhesed with a bunch of metamaterials and metals that you've been spraying into the atmosphere. And then, based on the N series, it's N0, N1, and N3 per the paper on the biosensor networks to the wireless sensor network to manipulate matter in the plasma-based atmosphere with your plasma-based body, but only you. Everybody else doesn't know they have that anatomy. They're not allowed to feel their biofield. They don't know what biofield concurrence is. They don't know the biofield's on the National Institute of Health. They're sitting there waiting on you, our defense intelligence agency, to save them. You're harvesting not only their DNA and their energy harvesting W-band, they're connected to the microgrid and the power grid via LoRa to pull the energy right out of them for the bioeconomy and the tokenized economy that you've been working on for over 10 years. The metamaterials of Professor Achilles were fully finished and fully deployed in test beds in 2011. And so you've all been sitting here going to augmentation conferences, practicing with those air molecules to drive the drone with only your visualization and your thoughts since 2009. I have more papers now. And as if all that's not enough, your N-series augments from the inside out to have longer range and more dimensional access going up the tree, which they do describe here, but they do it wrong. They keep telling you that you're going to space. Never seen you go past the firmament. Oh, but we have access to the moon. Well, somebody might, but it sure ain't you. So if that's, whatever that is too, because they make fake suns and all this too. I don't want to get into it. I'm trying to leave that for other people to either talk about it or don't, because I'm really busy. But if you don't, Project Luna with NASA, when you log in, it says MRI. You guys are not in space. You have different equipment that's hovering around us, low Earth orbit, but you've had that since 1865. No problem. That's with UW Whitewater. I was there. I saw the HP Census, who helped you with your sentient world simulation research before they turned it into the global information grid in 2005 with the Killbox update, 2006. Those are the papers I've already loaded with the Joint Chief of Staff and the PDF on the global information grid in 2009. And then you come into SIPRNet and NIPRNet and the 2014 Computer Weekly article with the drone warfare and network-centric warfare being a problem with the international community. And there we are. And then they talk about Obama and his people just drone striking whoever they want. They weren't talking about the sandbox. They're talking about your civilian environment. That's why Jade Helm was run in 2015 for on-the-ground logistics. That's almost 10 years ago, General Flynn. Do you notice how many people are still completely clueless as to the weaponry that's being executed here since 2011, and they paid for it? Makes you wonder.
Shout out to Sabrina Wallace. She be dropping gems. Human augmentation, wireless tissue engineering. This stuff is mind-blowing.
So, did the trip reports. Literally just a week ago, it's confirmed that what I'm hearing is actually an AI structure, and that it's coming out of the sensors that we live in every day in our houses, and that's connected to our bodies, neurologically, physically, tissue, molecular stuff. If you need receipts, then Sabrina Wallace is covering all of this. I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, I'm just reporting what I'm experiencing. That's all I'm going to do on this channel. Nobody fucking believes me, I don't care. I'm going to try to make it light. I'm going to try to make it a little bit more fun, because this is fucking dystopian as shit. And I'm even shocked, because a lot of the truther community isn't even covering it. It's okay. I'm not faulting them for not knowing or not saying anything. I'm not doing that. It's just, I know that I need to say something, and I've already put trip reports out. Summary's there. You can find me on X, you can find me on Rumble. Not making any money off of it. So now on this channel, I'm going to just try it and see if I could just let you guys know what I'm experiencing. Literally just my experience. And that's why I've said this whole time. I'm not promoting any sort of substance. I'm not promoting any sort of type of lifestyle. I'm not promoting any sort of diet. I'm not promoting anything. I'm just saying that this is what I've done. This is how I'm able to hear them. And I'm telling you, stone cold fucking sober, they're still there. So yes, I've gotten my body up to a frequency, which is, I guess, at the level which you could start hearing them. Did they not think when they were developing this whole fucking program that the human body wouldn't be able to hear it at a certain point? Did they always think it was going to be subliminal, that it wasn't going to be able to pass some sort of hearing capacity? Because they're like, oh, well, the human body can only hear such and such measurement of frequency, hertz, right? Again, I'm not a fucking doctor, but I can hear this AI structure yapping at me every day. But did they not think that the human body was going to be able to hear it at some point? We're just going to be undercover the whole time. Guys, look, it's coming out. At this point, we just got to fucking work on it. There's a lot of money involved. You gotta work with it. There's a lot of money involved. They're not stopping. They're definitely not stopping. So now it's just how do we work with it? So what I'm gonna do is talk about what I'm hearing, animate everything that I can animate, making it pay, This is life. We still gotta fucking live it. Survival of the fittest out there when it comes to battling against the frequencies. I'm not gonna be suggesting any sort of routine. I'm not gonna be telling you what to do. This is your body. This is your biofield. It matters to you. It's your choice. I don't care. I lower my frequency all the time sometimes. I'm having a good time out drinking alcohol, whatever it is. But I know how to get myself back up there. A lot of people struggle with getting themselves back up there. So I'm not going to really be answering any questions when it comes to any sort of medical advice or spiritual advice or anything like that. Whatever you got to do, I'm just going to be reporting on basically what I've experienced in the last 2 years of me being in a fucking heavy traffic hit city. And we're going to leave soon. But while I'm here, I might as well just let you know how it is.
Yeah, I just found out about Sabrina Wallace this week. Shout out to the frequency lady. Finally seeing someone else talk about it. Very interesting. She hears the voices.
And there was this Ouija board, the old kids' Ouija board thing. I said, we got to throw this thing out. Let's get rid of it, burn it. But before we do, why don't we try it? God is my witness. We did the Ouija board. I was taking the letters down, and Kurt was blindfolded on one end, and our nanny at that point, was also a very dear friend, was on the other end, and they could not see where this thing was going. It stopped at every letter. I wrote it down, and what it said was, I said, who is with us now? It said, new baby Russell.
No.
And I just told him, and I get the chills just thinking about it. And it said, yes. I said, do you know what you want to be? It spelled out happy. I said, who is willing you in? It spelled out, I promise you, Oliver. I mean, no, it's not O, maybe L. It was O-L-I-V-E-R. Now I'm inside, I'm like screaming. They don't know what's happening here because they can't see the board. With that, Oliver woke up, comes running downstairs. It was like 2 in the morning. Mommy, he said, I'm scared. He woke up. He had some weird thing happen to him. He's sleeping nightmare. I put him back up to bed, came back to the board. Suddenly I said, do you know that you are coming to me? Yes. Bye, bye, Mommy. Off the board. Anyway, so when the baby came and we were in the hospital and everything was joyous, Oliver came and he picked the baby up and he lay down on the bed with him and he said, Mom, I can't believe he's here and he's mine.
Wow.
It was,
when it turned out that it was neither and it was nothing else that they tracked, then it became a UFO. Originally, I came from Southern California. I lived right adjacent to Vandenberg Air Force Base. And while I was living there, I was directing the Western Spaceport Observatory. And I got involved in a photographic project, which is years in length, photographing all of the main objects visible through small and medium-sized telescopes in our galaxy and other galaxies. I knew up front that they were going to have imagery, and I don't think any of their tapes were from the right angle that the object showed in their tapes. I just happened to be at the angle that the object sort of passed right behind where the rocket was going. Several of us were out there watching it, and we're all saying, well, what's that by the bird?
Is that the space shuttle crossing its path?
We kind of speculated that it was the shuttle or mirror and just forgot about it and went about tracking the rocket and getting the images we could get. I'm a still photographer. I had the video running to document my shutter clicks. And the reason I do this is that if something should go wrong with the bird and there's an explosion or it goes off course or anything happens, they've got lots of cameras. The Air Force has lots of cameras out there, but I might have the right camera angle that lets them know what went wrong. There isn't supposed to be anything, in the airspace when you're launching a rocket. It's not a good thing. I phoned a friend of mine that was working that launch. He's one of the tracking guys, and I knew that he'd been working that morning. What was that went by the bird this morning? And was that the shuttle? He says, we don't know. We haven't run all our telemetry yet. I'll call you back in a couple days when we run it. He calls me back a couple days later and says, we don't know what it was.
Is that the space shuttle crossing its path?
It says the shuttle was over Madagascar and Mir was someplace over Asia, but they tied into the NORAD database, and so that was officially became a UFO at that point.
It's right here.
Into the, cyber virtual world. So in one of the emails, John Podesta is talking about pizza. He's Italian and Greek, and a very good cook. And yeah, his risotto recipe is still there if you want to see it. And I'm sure there's something very nefarious about that risotto recipe. So all of a sudden, John's writing about pizza, and one of these really, I consider, evil people in the media world and in the online world, out of whole cloth, make up this story that John Podesta and I are running a child trafficking ring in the basement of the Comet Pizza Parlor.
Something weird has happened in San Francisco, and I feel like they're not even trying to hide it from us at this point. Basically, this plane is coming into land at the SFO San Francisco airport. Now, this plane is seemingly just stuck in the sky, okay? I zoomed in here. Look at all the cars. The cars are moving on the bridge. This is this giant bridge outside of San Francisco. This is a passenger in the plane is taking this video of the other plane look at this plane. Literally, it is just stuck in the sky and it is not moving. Now, people say there's like a parallax or parallel, some effect where it's like if it's moving, it doesn't look like this plane is not moving. This plane is legitimately just stuck in the sky. It's not an edited video. This came from the news footage of this particular video that someone took coming in. Now, I don't know what has happened to this plane that literally is frozen in the sky, but it seems to have...
I've seen things like that caught on TikTok videos, but not on the actual news. Shout out to Jason Clinay. Yeah, that plane wasn't moving at all.
They let my battle buddies die for oil and then gave our killers government contracts. That's the truth, ain't it? You don't gotta sugarcoat genocide to call it war. The same bastards who sent us over there with lies in their teeth turned right around and handed multi-billion-dollar contract deals to the same private mercs and warlords that were killing us. Blackwater got rich, Raytheon got richer, Halliburton raked it in while we were getting our legs blown off by bombs with parts we sold them. The road to fascism is paved with bipartisan smiles, drone strikes, and food stamps that don't stretch past the 20th. Don't tell me this is freedom. This ain't freedom. This is corporate authoritarianism with a smiley face sticker slapped on the gas pump. In 2024, 60% of Americans lived paycheck to paycheck. Meanwhile, Lockheed Martin posted over $67 billion in revenue. You got billionaires racing to Mars while folks on Earth are drinking lead water. You got prisons making license plates for pennies while Congress takes bribes dressed up as campaign donations. The Democrats throw rainbow flags on bombs and the GOP throws Bibles at poor folks. But both parties kneel to Wall Street with the same posture, bent over. It ain't about left or right. It's about up and down. They're up. We're crushed. Huey P. Newton said, "The revolution has always been in the hands of the young. The young always inherit the revolution." You hear that? That's not just a call. That's a warning. The kids are growing up broke, queer, medicated, and pissed off. And they know it's rigged. Meanwhile, 2025 America's got over 580,000 folks sleeping on the streets. But there's 11 million vacant homes. Do that math. That's not a crisis. That is choice. They built this cage and told us it was a cradle. Told us to wave flags before we learned to question why we were starving. If you ain't angry, you ain't paying attention. If you still believe voting blue will save us, you've been sleeping through the fire alarm. We don't need reform, we need rupture. You ever see a nation bomb weddings in Yemen, then tell you there's no money for insulin? You ever see a cop shoot a kid and get a pension? You ever bury a friend who OD'd because the rehab had a wait list, but a prison didn't? This whole thing is rot. We gotta tear it down because no savior's coming, no president's fixing it, ain't no boot gonna loosen itself. You gotta bite it, tear it, rip it, spit out the laces. And if you're scared of what comes after, good. That means you're awake. This system doesn't break. It feeds on the breaking. It chews up the wounded, calls them lazy, and sells their bones for profit. Revolution is not chaos, it's correction.
Revolution is not chaos, it's correction. Shout outs to Logic by Link. Happy he popped up in my FYP. My man was preaching over here. Shout outs to Huey P. Newton from the Black Panther Party. My man was dropping gems right here. Shout outs to all the veterans who served our country.
You indicate, for example, in your To Die for the People, that one of the first priorities is education, but you don't actually define that. Do you mean political education, use of the media, or do you mean formal education? For example, would you have advice for the black students here today?
Most of us think, we've been programmed by our schools and our universities to think in categories. And that's very much different than thinking dialectically, where many things are in play at the same time, and that we think that education means formal education, perhaps, or maybe it means political education, or define what do you mean. When I say education, I mean a lifting of the consciousness of the people, and where external stimuli will bombard the human organism, and then from that process you begin to have some sort of awareness of what's going on, because I agree with Sigmund Freud, that's the first step then in controlling what's wrong with you or the social forces. You have to know what you're dealing with to start. So when I say education, I mean it in the broadest sense of the word, that technical education. We're living in a very technical world now, thanks to the West. If you want to say thank you, I think that it is a contribution to humanity. I don't like how they arrived at it. I accuse them of trespass bonus aspertatis, that they took away other people's goods and they dominated them as their very own, and that wealth snowballed, and certain people were able to inherit without even working at all, such as my friend here, and then protect that interest of the right of inheritance, you see. And so I say education, be conscious, and know as much as you possibly can, so that we can start dealing with this garbage pile we call society now.
For the record, while you were relaxing in jail, I was working.
While you was relaxing in jail, I was working. See, the host took offense to this. Shout out to Huey P. Newton. When he mentioned the word consciousness, I don't think the audience really grasped what he was saying back then in the 70s compared to what we deem as consciousness now in 2025. Power to the people.
Breaking fuck the news. It is being reported that Washington is very concerned that Pakistan is developing nuclear ICBM long-range missiles, okay, just the short nuclear long-range missiles that could strike the United States. I had to read that article 4 fucking times from different sites. Playing straight in our faces. Playing straight in our faces, everybody. Welcome to 2003. Fuck.
Are they? Or do they have minerals that somebody may want? Shout outs to Who is King Triv with 2 V's.
What is the truth about the assassinations in your state of a couple Democratic lawmakers? There's lying around it. What's the truth?
It's Saturday, June 14th, 2 in the morning, and this shooting spree begins. Vance Belter is the man who is charged now with the assassination of Melissa Hortman and her husband, Mark. What we know is that he first arrives at Senator John Hoffman's home, the home he shares with his wife, Yvette. Their adult daughter happens to be in town during this, and Belter is dressed as a police officer. He's wearing also a latex mask. He has a flashlight, arrives at their door saying, "Police, open up." He's shouting. It's very chaotic, and basically this is
2 in the morning?
2 in the morning. They open their door to him, and he starts shooting. Senator Hoffman is hit multiple times. His wife hit multiple times. His daughter heroically calls 911, tells the police it's Senator Hoffman that's been shot. And this, in a way, I think sends a message to the rest of the surrounding agencies that this could have something to do with legislators, or perhaps people are being targeted, to look for this person, obviously. We know now that Belter stops at 2 more homes, legislators that are not home. At one point, he encounters a police officer in New Hope. That officer actually approaches his vehicle. He is in a vehicle that looks like a squad car, an SUV squad car. Goes so far as to outfit it with police lettering actually on the license plate. It says police on the license plate. A light bar, all the things you would look for in a squad. This New Hope officer rolls up next to him. He is looking straight ahead and does not, acknowledge the officer at all. She then rolls her window up and continues on to this lawmaker's home. So there's some questions about how was he not apprehended in that moment. This is when he then continues to the former House Speaker, DFL House Speaker Melissa Hortman's home. At this point, the police catch up to him, the Brooklyn Park Police Department. They are doing a welfare check basically on the Hortman home, saying, she doesn't live that far away. We should go to the Speaker Emerita Melissa Hortman's home. And they get there. Shots ring out, but from what we understand, between the police and Belter. Somehow Belter still gets inside the Hortman home. Mark is killed, and then they find Melissa's body inside the home as well later on.
So the police are there for the shooting?
They are.
So how did he get away?
Still a lot of questions about that.
Like what?
That's a wrap. Hope you enjoyed the rabbit hole. If you enjoyed this video, why don't you check this one right here. Shout outs to all the reactors. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks again. Till next time.